Hey, welcome into my channel. My name is Vinny. I'm a voiceover artist, and I wanted to share with you what I just completed. And when I say I mean mainly my father-in-law, but we just completed a booth build for my voiceover booth. And, as I've jumped into the world of voiceover over the last few years, the internet has been so gracious. And by internet, I mean other voiceover artists who graciously share their knowledge and wisdom. It's been a great community to be a part of. And I just wanted to share my experience in building a booth and what we went through, things we learned that we like, maybe things that we would have done differently if we were to do it again. But maybe this will help you if you are going to embark on the journey of building your own VO booth, whether it's for voiceover or just any kind of ISO booth, because the principles all apply. So let's check this out. I have some videos. I chronicled this along the way. Let's check out what we have. I would encourage you, if you find this information helpful, like and subscribe to the channel, because I have other information that is coming out and will be coming out in the future. So that helps me out as well. And also comment below if you made a booth, if you maybe did anything we did and you found it worked or didn't work, or maybe something that's just different. Comment. I'd love to hear what you had going on. Anyway, let's check out what's going on here. Like most of us, I began with the fort, the tent booth. And so it was PVC pipe, and I didn't want to invest in a booth prior to seeing if I really liked this VO thing. So this is unfortunately me taking it down. I didn't take a lot of pictures of it when I was using it, but it was mainly Harbor Freight packing blankets on the outside, a lot of them. I actually, before I took this down, I had a bookshelf along that left side, and that really helped cut down sound and block sound as well. This is an old shot of the inside. If you notice, on the inside, you're not seeing the packing blankets, and that's because I used Audimute sound absorption sheets, which were fantastic. They cut out so much sound, great at deflecting and blocking. So those were so helpful. The quality of sound in those things were fantastic. I regularly did audiobooks, and I never had a problem hitting the negative 60 dB requirements, and it just sounded good as well. I did other things, but that was a huge part of it. All right, first thing I did was figuring out my room in general, like the space we were going to be in. So we picked this corner for a couple reasons. I had the most space. It was going to be the booth is going to be 7 feet long by 5.5 wide, and then 7.5 feet tall. If you also notice in that corner, there's an outlet, there's power. So I'll get to that a little bit later. But first thing we had to figure out is, okay, where are we going to put this thing? This is my father-in-law, Phil. He did the majority of this stuff in his early retirement. And as he would say, he does it because of Portuguese power, because that's what he does. This is what the immigrants do. Very much a fan of the Portuguese power. All right, here's how we started off. Started off by building the floor. So this is just 2x4s. I am on a cement floor at home, but we wanted to make sure we elevated it off the ground and added in any isolation we can. If you could see in there, I used green glue, which you could see that bucket to the left, and that helped. That helps making sure that there's absorption doesn't pass between materials. Once we got the frame for the floor done, we brought it in and we started installing Rockwool, which I know the comments are going to be, why are you touching that without gloves or masks? Yeah, we know. We figured that out later. So this is stuff where if you're going to use Rockwool, it's highly effective, and make sure you PPE up because this stuff is pretty nasty. I also will say I used Rockwool. We used Rockwool for the flooring and the walls, but not for the sound treatment on the inside of the booth. We'll get to that a little bit later. We used MDF for the flooring. So we had 2 different sheets of, I believe it was 5/8 MDF, but we stacked them on top of each other. And so that's perfectly, secure. And man, when I'm standing on that thing now, there's no bumping or flopping around. I mean, that thing is really solid. The MDF is doing a great job. Phil's go ahead and screwing in the MDF. You could see we also used the green glue between the sheets of the MDF, and you could see the power is there. So that's where we needed to make sure before we started putting up the walls that we figured out how we were going to run that power. So I'll show you a little bit later what happens there. The frame, we decided just to use 2x3s. It was a little more cost effective, gave us a little more space. And then you can see how it's offset, and that's able to hold the Rockwool panels that we bought in place. So we just slid those in, and we didn't have to do anything else in terms of securing them to the wall. That worked out really well, but this is just bringing in that wall or the frame in order to size it up to make sure everything worked well. We brought it down, and this is also where we started putting in the sheetrock, which we are using 5/8 sheetrock. We did use 5/8 sheetrock, double sheetrock on all walls. And this is some acoustic caulking. Just so you know, I was about ready to spend a ton of money on green glue on a bucket. They're like $500. Literally right before I purchase on Amazon, I'm like, what are the chances someone in my area is going to be selling this on Facebook Marketplace? Wouldn't you know, someone 15 minutes from me was selling a brand new bottle or bucket, 5-gallon bucket of green glue, and they even threw a couple of these tubes of acoustical caulking in. And so we just used that for everything, and it worked really well. And so there is always that isolation between materials when we assembled them. We have that wall up. These walls get heavy, so you need to make sure you have someone helping you when you put them up. Phil's anchoring them to the floor. And the process is similar for all the walls. Now, as you can see there on the wall to the right, that short wall, you could see the electrical popping through. Phil is also a retired electrician, so I had that benefit going for me. We ran power from that wall, the outlet on the left. We ran it around, and we're coming up because that side is the direction that my face would be pointing at. So my desk is going to be right there. So we wanted to have power coming out from there. And so he was able to tap in. And so I had direct power to the wall, not from the outlet, but we actually tapped in to the electrical to make sure that even if there's an outlet failure, we wouldn't have long-term problems because we can't really access the wall anymore. It's just showing another example of the green glue, how we would put it in between each slab of, or not each slab, but each piece of the sheetrock. And that stuff's, it's wild. And it made a mess on the rug, man. This carpet looks nasty now. I need to shampoo it and hope it comes out. But that thing doesn't ever really dry. It's true to form. Now, this is the ceiling. I had to have a couple of my friends come over, so thanks Jeremy and Bo for helping. This thing was heavy, and boom, there goes the ceiling. But I don't even know how much this thing weighed, but it took all four of us to kind of get it up there. You could see we almost lose it for a second. We probably could have orchestrated this a little bit better because we almost lost it right there. And then, like, let's all run. And we almost dropped it from the back. Bo's the smart one and stayed back. But this is us just putting the ceiling up, and then we're going to secure it with a 2x4 until we could permanently secure it. But that's how we got the ceiling up. And these are the things that you really have to think about, especially we have an 8-foot ceiling. So we did not have a lot of room to work with when we were installing that. This is the everything in place, the Portuguese Power appreciating his work. This is the wall. If you go back here to the left that you cannot see, this is that wall. And this is one of the things that we went back and forth on. I'm going to make another video to show you this, to talk about it more in depth. But what do we do for holes? I didn't want to have outside sound coming in. And so initially we had no exhaust or a vent or anything for airflow. And I just figured, hey, I'll just kick the door open. We're working so hard to make sure that we don't have sound creeping in. Why would we want to put holes in there? And at the last minute, we decided, hey, we probably should have some sort of exhaust. So on that wall, we had this baffling system where I don't remember the exact measurements. I want to say those are probably 9-inch 2x4s that we cut and made that maze to make sure we had a maze for air coming in and out. But that's what that looks like. Once we installed it, you could see what that maze looks like. And eventually we cut the hole up at the top. It's not there yet. We waited till the entire thing was finished before we cut it. But that would be the only part of the wall that doesn't have any insulation. We do have double sheetrock on each side, but we are going to be putting a hole. So the way it works is on the inside of the booth, there's a hole on top. I want to say it was a 4-inch hole. And then on the outside of the booth, we put it at the bottom. And so heat rises, it would collect the air up top, and then it would be with a fan brought down is the idea. You can see now this is a post-mortem shot. I just got a hose from Amazon that you would use for a dryer. They make them non-aluminum now, so it's very sturdy. Then we made a box, and that's just a computer fan that I just rest on top of it. It does create an HVAC type sound in my booth a little bit. You hear the whoosh, right? It's not there. Right when you attach the fan to the box, you can hear the vacuum. But I'm able to cut that out through some processing. Okay, back to the creation of this. We put that wall up. We have the double sheetrock. We're getting everything lined up. And so that is in. We then started putting the Rockwool on the inside, putting it on the vertical, in between the vertical studs, no problem. That fit in there nice and tight. The ceiling was difficult. And so what we actually had to end up doing is, I think for this is a while ago we did this. We might have even sprayed adhesive, like spray adhesive on top, and then shoved the Rockwool up there to kind of get tacky. And then before that, we had the duct tape, the black duct tape, already stapled because we realized we had to staple it to one side. It was kind of hanging down. We would put it up there and then bring the tape down and staple it to the other side just to have it helping secure the Rockwool so it wouldn't fall down. Because we weren't putting sheetrock up immediately. So that was a little trick we had to figure out in order to keep it vertical and keep it up there. We then started sheetrocking, so you have the double 5/8 on the inside, on the interior as well. And then you could see how the Rockwool is starting to go in there. We learned mask and glove now. You see how the power is coming out. This is my little dude pretending like he is working. We give him, you know how that is. Yeah, buddy, you did a good job. You could see where the door opening was going to be at. And I'm not giving sizes on this stuff for the most part because everything is custom. We had to customize to the room. And when you build something, you're probably going to customize it. So what I'm not giving you is a schematic to say, make it this big, then this big. You got to figure it out. And even our door had to be custom sized, which is another thing. So we're framing out there. We know where the door is going to be. There's the sheetrock. You could see more green glue going on and that second piece of sheetrock, and we'll eventually cut the opening for the door. So everything was sheetrocked at that point. A couple things that we added, and I'll make a video on more things I wish I would have done, but I did put a Cat 5, I put 2 cables on the right side running into the booth so I could have a consistent internet source. So I'll just run it from outside the booth. And then I had a wall plate for XLR cables to go either way, just in case something were to happen. And I wish there was more redundancy. I wish I would have... There's other things. I wish I would have put an HDMI cable and a couple other things in there, but this is what we put in. You can see on the inside, we have a 2-gang analog box using plastic, and then there's electrician putty that we put around it to help plug in any kind of hole that might be there. That's actually for the Cat 5 that we did. Actually, we did on both of them now that I think about it. And here, this is what it is. So on that plastic box would have been on the right side, and those cables sticking out are for the XLR box. And then on that right side, that metal box, that's where we had everything coming out on the outside in terms of power and the Cat 5. Hey, well, I finished recording the entire video and realized this got really long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this into 2 videos. If you want to watch how we decided to treat interiorly the space, actually, so it's not just 4 sheetrock walls, and if you want to see what we did in terms of developing the door, come back to that video, which I'll link to below. And if you liked this video, like it. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, that'd be great. That really helps me out, and it lets you know when new videos come out. Hopefully this video was helpful to you in terms of your building your own space. If you have already done some of this, let me know. Drop a comment down below. And I think I forgot to mention this as well. The walls are all 6 inches deep, including the 2 5/8 sheetrock on inside, outside, and then the space in between. It was 6-inch walls. I forgot to mention that earlier. So anyway, comment below if you have feedback to give. If not, we'll see you in the next video where we go over sound treatment as well as the door.